I'm going to show you the second query stack that I did, which immediately followed doing the first query stack, the God Heaven query stack. This is the query stack that was solved, and it came out with the answer, go Dave, he winner or gains, okay? So my name's Dave, so it became a personal message to me when I solved it, okay? Go Dave, he winner or gains. When I finished that one, I thought, okay, if there's something to this, like a system that can be repeated, almost like a scientific process, right? Then I should be able to take another group of words and do the same thing. But I thought, what kind of group of words would I use? And I thought, okay, what about instead of using the term God, right? Biblically, I'll use the opposing force, which would be the devil, right? And so I'm like, okay, so in the top row, instead of the word God going across, I'll use the opposite of the word God, right? The word devil. And instead of using the word heaven in the second row, I'm going to use the word hell, because God is of heaven and the devil is of hell. And it basically, through doing a few of these, I realized it's basically taking a biblical character on the first row, and the second row is where that biblical character is most notably tied to, right? God is of heaven, devil is of hell, okay? And then the origin and answer became constants, like a math constant that you plug into an equation. Sometimes these math constants, they don't know why they work, it's just they work with, the equation, so that's a constant that's used, right? So those two words, origin and answer, became constants amongst all the query stacks that I solved. So I made the second, I'm going to try to cover up the answer. The second query stack, which says devil, hell, origin, answer. So when I did this one, I followed the rules that I did with the God, heaven, origin, answer query stack. Again, those rules, were that you can only connect letters that are horizontally or vertically, and you cannot connect any letters diagonally only. So like the D and the V are connected diagonally, but that's because the D is connected to the A and the E is connected to the V, either horizontally or vertically. And then you can only use each letter once in boxing off the letters. When you box off the letters, they have to spell a word, and then you take out the words from top left to bottom right? And then you can't have any leftover letters. Okay, so I'm using those same rules when I do the devil hell query stack, the second one of the series. Okay, so what I'm going to do is box in these letters according to the same technique that I did with the God heaven query stack. So again, this is a devil hell query stack. Okay, so the first word, and I found them in not this order, but again, I did it right after I did the God heaven query stack, which took about 20 minutes, and this one probably took about the same amount of time. It was just more like intuition. I just felt like what I was doing was just going through something that was already scripted, and it just felt right as I was doing it. Okay, so the first word in the answer, because again, you take it out from top left to bottom right? So the D is the first letter in the first row. So this spells the word horde, H-O-R-D and E. So as I mentioned, you can take out a block of letters and then move those letters to create a word, right? Usually you might get two options, maybe one option, two options, maybe three, because we're using a small amount of letters, usually 3 to 5 for a word, okay? So again, it's horde. And as you see, it drops down here. It's the first word in the answer, horde. A horde in the noun sense, right, is a crowd of individuals. The second word, when you come off of horde and you go across, is the V, and that would be the second word, and it's E-V-I-N-L. Now, that's evil, right? That's the word evil. Now, it could also be live, or L-I-V-E. It could also be live, L-I-V-E. It could also be veil, V-E-I-L, right? Those would be the anagrams of the word evil. When it says horde evil, evil is not used in the adjective sense. to say like this person's evil, that person's acting evil. It's in the sense of a noun, one that personifies wickedness. You would say like that is a evil, right? Not that they're evil. They would be based on the fact that they are an evil. Okay. So in this sense of the word evil, saying the horde is evil. Whenever there's a colon within the answer structure, it's replacing apostrophe S. Okay, so the horde, and it's like a list. Like if you have a list that said like Joe, let's say green socks, red car, and bread, whatever, like a list. And it said Joe colon, and these three items, it would be like Joe's, whatever I said, I don't remember, groceries, Joe's car, Joe's green shoes, whatever. So that's kind of how this is. It's the horde, and the horde is an evil. Okay. The next word that is boxed in this matrix is the word ill, I-L-L. Okay, now just for a point, if somebody said, well, it could also be lil, L-I-L, like little, that is an abbreviation or shortening with an apostrophe, and it might even be slang. I'd have to look it up. And these structures stay pretty much with nouns, pronouns, proper nouns, adjective, verbs, adverbs, words that have, meaning and are not slangy. Okay. There might be 1 out of 150 to 200 words that are a slang, and they usually fit in for a reason with that answer. Okay. So this meaning of the word ill is not like the word, like being sick, like, oh, I feel ill. It's the definition, and all these definitions are in Merriam-Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. You can go online and see them for yourself. I mean, you have to sign up to actually get the in-depth dictionary, for the unabridged, but you can just go up on Merriam-Webster's, and most of these will pop up because they're not obscure definitions. So in this sense, the word ill means evil. Okay. Ill and evil are synonyms. When I did the God Heaven query stack, right? The properties of the answers, one of them is the first phrase has to have 2 words in it. Okay. The second property is the subject of the solution has to be mentioned in the first phrase. The third property is the second word of the first phrase, so Dave, has to be synonymous or matches up in a common sense way, I guess is the best way to say it at the moment, to the word, to the first word of the second phrase. So Dave and he. Okay, so Dave is a boy. A boy is represented by the pronoun he, right? So it's synonymous, okay? It's meaningfully the same. It's describing Dave in the correct way. Okay, you could say Dave or you could say he or him. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at this answer, it follows those properties. First phrase has 2 words. I will explain how the subject, the horde, is, part of the second phrase because we haven't got there yet. But the second word, evil, in the first phrase matches with the first word of the second phrase. It's synonymous, evil and ill. So again, it's like an author writing a sentence and being like, okay, before you think, it has nothing to do with the second sentence, let me tie it together by putting the first word as a tie-in to the first sentence, right? The first word of the second phrase, a tie-in to the first sentence, so it's all going together. So if I wanted to say evil and then the next word was, let's say, shirt, it wouldn't make any sense. So it helps you guide to find the next word. So if I see the word ill, it's like, oh, it's probably ill because it's a synonym, right? Okay. So the next word I'll box in is the word reign, R-E-I-G-N. So that is right here, R-E-I-G-N. And if you don't remember from the last episode or you didn't see it, I'm taking out words in top left to bottom right. So the first word is horde because it has a D in it. You skip the E because it's already used. So it's almost like it disappears, like poof, it's out of there, that whole little area. And then you go to the next letter and it's part of the word evil. Okay. And that helps. We know it's not live. We know it's not live or veiled because it's synonymous with the word ill. Okay. The word evil. And so that's the next word in the phrase. And then you go down the second row, all these have been used, so they're not really there anymore. And then you go down to the third row, you go across, and the next letter that hasn't been used now, but wasn't, is the G of the word rain. Okay? And so that becomes the word here, second word in the second phrase. So it says there's a horde or a crowd of people that's an evil, or it's a wicked, right? And then there's an ill reign. Okay, ill in this sense is used as a noun also. It's an ill. It's not like someone is ill. It's someone is the ill. Someone is the evil. There's like some words that just don't have the S at the end. Not like if it needs to be there, right? It's not like it's going to be like, I don't know, the word wish, let's say, and the S is missing. No, not like that. It's just like the end of a verb. Like in this sense, like the ill, instead of ill reigns, it's ill reign and wands. Okay? So if you're talking conversationally, you're talking about a person like, Joe jump and Joe, runs, right? Somebody will still understand you. They'll just take it like talking in conversation in a way. Okay? But it's not you losing a letter S in a necessary part of the word. Okay? So, and it doesn't happen continuously through the same answer. It's like once in a while, but once you take all the answers collectively together, you start realizing you're like, okay, all these words are used continuously, and 1 out of 5 times it's missing the letter S for some reason, but the meaning's always the same. Ill, reign. Okay, so in this sense, the word reign means to exercise sovereign power or rule. Okay, so you're reigning over somebody. You're ruling over them. You're the sovereign power, right? Okay, so like a king's reign and different things like that. So there's a horde that's evil, and then we have the ill is reigning, is powerful or ruling. Okay, and then the next word is right at the bottom here because we went across, these were used, and then you hit the word wands, W-A-N-S. Okay. When you take it out, you just switch the letters like an anagram, and it becomes the word wands. Now, wands means to become lacking in forcefulness in this sense, okay? Their power is wanting, W-A-N-N-I-N-G. Look it up in the dictionary, you'll find it in the dictionary, right? In the answer here, it says, the horde is evil, the ill reigns, or reign, the ill reign, and because there's a comma, wands. Okay, so the ill reigns and wands. And if you think about it, like how they say, like kingdoms rise and fall, right? You gain power and you lose power, depending on what you do with that power, I guess. And in this sense, the answer is saying there's a crowd of individuals that are considered to be the evil, right? And one might think, like the devil and hell and demons and things like that. And people that tend to worship that and play along with it. And then the ill reigns, meaning it's dominating through the evil forces that, it exudes. And then it, after a while, maybe gets defeated and wands out. One might think of that with the phrases based on what they are. Now, when I actually kept going, doing different query stacks beyond this, like I said, my next one was the next one that fits into the series is Jesus, Earth, Origin, Answer, because I thought, well, God of heaven, God's the ultimate good, and he's of heaven. Devil's the ultimate evil, embodiment of evil, and he's of hell. And then when you look like biblically, in between heaven and hell is earth, right? There's no other place. So if you have earth, who would be kind of the supreme being of earth in that sense? Like God is of heaven, devil is hell. And the next one in the series would be Jesus, because biblically speaking, according to the Bible, Jesus would be that King of Kings. And so then, I continued down that pathway and learned about who the crowd of individuals are. They're the evil crowd that's being talked about, and how this crowd of evil reigned and wands, right? Has power and then is losing power. This is Reality Storyline Decoded 2, based on just query stacks, and it's sold on Amazon.com. You'll find it under my name, David Mivshek. It's about a 500-page book. It's like a textbook, and this is a deck of cards, okay, compared to it, so you can see it's 8.5 by 11. It's not just a little book. And it's not me just talking about what I believe, right? I believe this, I believe that. You should believe it because I believe it. No, it's nothing about that. It's me putting out the information, letting you read all the information, and then me analyzing that information and telling you based on that information what it means. So anyway, this is Reality Storyline Decoded 2, okay, query stacks, and it goes through the different query stacks, 500 pages. It's all diagrams, and you can see like I'm doing tables here. I'm just flipping through pages, and I got some more tables going on there, and some tables and diagrams. Everything is broken down, so everything's explained, and I try to make it as detailed as possible. So if anybody has an argument, I can just be like, well, look in the book, I put it there.